Hi, this is Mr. Wedge, and today we're going to talk about the elements of art. And you can make your art at home with whatever you want. I'm going to use paper and a black marker that I found and some of my son's crayons. So I put my name on the back, and you could draw whatever you want. But I just want you to think about the elements of art. Do you remember how many elements of art there are? There's 7 elements of art. And they're the things that art is made up of. So when you look at a painting or a sculpture or a drawing or anything, a photograph, collage, a print, it's always made up of some of or all of these things. And there's 7 of them. So these are the elements of art. And there's line, shape, color, texture, value, space, and form. And we're going to talk about what those are. So I'm going to use a drawing that's going to I'm going to make a drawing that's going to use a lot of these. So when it comes to line, a line is just a dot in motion. So if I make a dot on my paper, it's not really one of the elements, it's just a dot. You can't really, you could make a picture out of lots of dots, but then you're using other elements. But if I want to move that dot, right, if that dot moves, wherever it goes makes a line. So lines could be, they could be straight, that's a diagonal line. They could be straight, but they could be horizontal. Or they could be vertical. They could also be curved. You could have a curved line. So here's a curved line like that. They could be big, but they could also be small. Or they could be very small. Like that. They could just get smaller. So that's line. There's all different kinds of lines. You could have dotted lines or dashed lines like this. What else? Okay, so that's line. A line is just a dot that moves. Shapes. You probably know a lot of shapes like triangles, circles. What else? Half circles. That's a shape. Squares. Put another circle there. Rectangles, right? So a stretched out square is a rectangle. And rectangles can go across or they could go up and down too. So there's some shapes. Color, right? The rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and you can put those colors in a wheel too, and that's what artists do. And I found some crayons here, so I could color some things in. Red is a warm color, and it's a really bold color. Pops out really well. Orange is kind of a nice color too. Here's some orange. Yellow, some yellow. Green. I'm using colors now. Color is one of the elements of art. There's some green. What else? So green, blue. Blue is a really nice calm color. It's very peaceful. When you look at the sky on a summer day, it's a very peaceful color. You can color things in really dark. Black isn't actually a color at all, it's called a neutral. And white is a neutral. Gray is a neutral. Brown is a neutral. These are neutral colors. They're not really colors, they're neutrals. They're not very colorful. But we think about those when we think about color too. Value means light and dark. So white is as light as it gets, and black is as dark as it gets, but you could also have like colors in between, like different kinds of gray, like that. Not too light, not too dark. So value. You could put shadows underneath things. So if I go along the bottom of something and make it really dark, sometimes it helps it look like a shadow. What else could I do? Space. So did you see how I drew this stick that's holding up the birdhouse? But I went behind this leaf and I came out the other side. That's called overlapping, and that's a way to use space. Also, not putting things so they're touching, but leaving a space in between your shapes is another way to use space. Also, I made this birdhouse smaller than the bird. Well, that doesn't make sense. But when things are far away, they get smaller, or they look like they're smaller. Ooh, texture. I skipped over texture. And there's lots of ways to make texture. So one of them is you could put patterns in things. That's a way to create texture, because texture is how something feels or how it looks like it would feel. So I drew some patterns and now it looks like it might feel like there's feathers there, but there's not really, it's just paper. You could do lines, like lots of dashes and lines, and now it looks like there's bark on a tree. Lots of ways to make texture. Texture is how something feels or how it looks like it would feel. Lines are also good for outlining things. So there we go. And yeah, form just means 3D, like a sculpture. Well, this is a drawing, and even though it might look kind of 3D in some places, this doesn't really have form. But sometimes art can have form. So these are some sculptures that my son made when he was 2, and he just found some blocks of wood in the garage, some scrap wood, and he just took some ordinary glue like this and he just glued it together in a cool way, and he made this sculpture. And this is an abstract sculpture. It's not really a sculpture of anything, but it's abstract. But this has form, and form is one of the elements of art, and it just means 3D, like you could pick it up. And you can use form in a drawing too by making it look 3D, like when I used value for my shadows. So there's lots of ways to use the elements. Just, it's important to learn all 7 of them and then make some art and see how you can use them. So work hard, have fun, and I hope you stay safe and healthy and happy.